So yeah, don't you mean X? Oh man. If any of you watch Atriarch, I have never well, I haven't laughed as hard as I did when Atriarch was like reviewing fucking Elon when he was first reviewing Elon's change from Twitter to X, and just like everything that everyone has been saying is absolutely true with regards to that name change. It's hands down one of the stupidest marketing decisions that anyone has ever seen in the realm of social media or even just business in general. Like, Elon Musk single-handedly has the ability to like break the illusion that billionaires are inherently smarter than the average person. I love the shit posting on Twitter. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's so one of the reasons why I keep going on about how like algorithms should be more transparent is because right now a lot of like the only way that social media is a good experience is if you are actively pruning and policing what shows up on your feeds. And it's really difficult to police that on your own because you're essentially just doing guesswork for all of your pruning, right? I don't even know how well the not interested option actually works on most of the sites that I use. For example, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, Insta. All of these have like, a not interested in this content option, but they seem to vary wildly in how effective it actually is in preventing similar content from popping up on your feed again. And like, what's the point in giving users tools if the tools don't do shit and if the users have no way of evaluating how well those tools can actually be used? So again, that's like part of the reason why, like, again, transparency is at the same time like one of the most important qualities that you can have on a social platform, but one of the qualities that these tech companies that run them like are, it's anathema to them to like fucking add those features in or just make it more clear to their users in general how their stuff works. So yeah. The opportunity when it's fine to dead name something is with Twitter. Yeah. I mean, look, no self respecting person is going to call it X when when they were around when it was still called Twitter. I hate tailoring my own feed. I hate censorship. I absolutely hate censorship. Yeah, that's fair enough. But the problem is, right, and this is where we get into like a kind of like weird ethical debate where censorship, I am like, again, personally, I disagree with censorship as well. But as someone who studies media, and again, this is something that I brought up in my last stream. So the way that algorithms are designed is that all of them are designed towards one thing, and that is homogenizing your feed, right? When it picks up, and this is the same regardless of whether you're on like TikTok, YouTube, Insta, whatever. The moment you express interest in one particular area of content, it doesn't even need to be content that's like a post. It can be an ad, right? The moment the algorithm realizes that you're interested in some particular form of content, it will start slowly trying to flood your feed with only that kind of content. And like, if the content you're interested in is like, for example, like really cool Bionicle builds, right? That's fine. Right, that happened to me like 1 or 2 weeks ago, where I liked a Bionicle post, and then slowly on my Instagram feed, all of it became like Bionicle builds. Which again, cool, I like that. But if it's something like, for example, and this is the example that I used last time I talked about it as well, if it's like a humanitarian aid post, if it's like children getting fucking covered in rubble in Palestine, then obviously you would not want an algorithm that works that way to start flooding people's feeds with that kind of material, because you can say what you like about the importance of advocating for / raising awareness about a humanitarian cause, but the emotional damage that it can inflict on people who only see that, or who see a high volume of that every time they go on social media, is real and documented. So at the same time, yes, censorship is bad, but I really do feel like these websites, and again, this ties into the transparency thing, these websites do need to, at some point in the future, implement a feature where viewers, users, whatever, are given greater control over what they see. But yeah, I've always referred to Twitter as loud texting. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. I think it's pretty reasonable. No, but yeah, the way that Twitter is built in particular, and again, this is another topic that I will be talking about more at a later date. is that Twitter is designed for shit flinging and nothing else. Every conversation is supposed to be public. Every conversation is open for other people who you have no clue who they are to jump in and add their piece, right? As a result, everything on Twitter is also performative as a direct result of that design philosophy. So that's why when, like, if all you have to judge a person off of is their Twitter, if they come out and they say something like, oh, I really care about gay rights, you really risk that looking very pretentious or insincere, because when you log on to Twitter, right, anyone who's used it for like a while, because of like after using it for a while, you internalize how public everything is that you post on Twitter. And as a result of that, you start to view everything as slightly performative as well, even if you're not consciously doing that. Again, like, if you, like, I also blame, like, the way that corporations handle June for this, but, like, if you look at a post about something important to somebody, like, you know, for example, like, Israel versus Palestine, you know, gay rights, or even just like any charity thing, right? If you see it on Twitter and you roll your eyes, that's not necessarily like that's not necessarily a fault on your part. That's inherently what the site is designed to do, or at least what it ends up doing as a result of its design. So yeah, performative shit flinging. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just the two phrases that I said just then, but like put together like in a better way. But what about their? I can't wait to see Twitter go after you. Look, if your main platform isn't Twitter, being cancelled on Twitter doesn't mean anything. If your main platform isn't Twitter and you haven't done anything heinous, being cancelled on Twitter is just free publicity. That's also why that's why I don't want to rely on Twitter for like anything but funneling attention into YouTube. Because like that's not a platform that's good for that, right? Okay, so I want to take this moment to shit a little bit on like social media activists. So, look, in my opinion, every social activist, before they get to like, you know, make a post about make a call out post on another creator or on people in general for not talking about a social issue or whatever, should be made to start a new YouTube channel and get one video to 10k views before they are able, like one long form video to 10k views before they're allowed to say anything. Because part of making content on YouTube, especially if you want to make content that's going to like fucking benefit your audience, part of that is accepting the possibility that regardless of how good you think what you've made is, no one's going to watch it. And that is a very real possibility. Because, like, if you make content and you release it and it does worse than you expected, you kind of have to do one of two things. You either, like, you know, go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how to improve what you've made, or you try something new because what you've done already isn't working. And this is why I get so exasperated by, well, I say social media, but I really just mean Twitter. This is why I try to I use Twitter only as like a clout farming tool to funnel into the YouTube, because I really do believe that intrinsically in the way that that app is made, its architecture, its basic form of engagement, it's just shit from the ground up. So like the way I see activism being done on Twitter in particular is just so fucking mind-numbing. Jordan Shanks makes VTuber doxing drama look like kindergarten tantrum. Yeah. Although, to be fair, like, I do feel like that's a good, like, part of me, right? Because I do keep up with, like, what shit is going down with commentators who talk about, like, large-scale, state-level, like, crimes and corruption and stuff. And after looking at that, I do kind of look at all of this VTuber drama, and a part of me, like, even though it doesn't make me feel good, it is, like, bizarrely a little cozy to settle down to someone talking about how, they had a personal falling out with somebody and realized that at the end of the day, none of these people have their lives threatened. Doxing, completely different issue. Whenever I hear of doxing, my blood fucking boils. But, like, if it's just like a personal falling out, like, if that gets made into drama, I'm just here sitting there going like, finally, something that doesn't actually risk killing someone, Because, when you're trying to expose like actual corruption, you automatically sign yourself up onto a death list, onto a fucking hit list.